Hi. I recently attended a meeting where the subject of loneliness in older people was being discussed. And of course, I've always realised that many older people are lonely. But quite frankly, I was blown away by the statistics. A lot of analysis has been done, a lot of studies, a lot of in-depth finding out who, why and where and what. And it appears that roughly 6 out of every 10 retirees feels some sort of loneliness. And of that, 60%, 25% of that, 60%, are feeling drastically lonely, really lonely. The thrust of this meeting was to discuss and also to highlight the various areas of loneliness. Which groups are more lonely than others? But overall, it seems that loneliness is a pandemic. It's something that really needs far more exposure than it is actually getting. Of late, we know that the governments, federal and state, are starting to take more notice of this, as it's realised that the world's population is ageing and people are living to a much older age. The old system of retiring at 65 and dying at 68 to 70 is no longer with us. People are retiring at maybe 55 and living to 85 and 90 and beyond, a long period of time. And as I've said in some of these videos before, there are exactly the same amount of years between 25 and 55 and 55 and 85. And look how much emphasis is put on the first 30. Developing careers, building homes, raising families. And then all of a sudden, we're supposed to, whoop, you're retired now, go out fishing, play golf, play bingo down the club. It is not enough. It is not enough, and we know it's not enough. With the situation as it is in the Western world, where we have isolated families, what they call, what's the term for, just mum, dad and one child, or mum, dad and one child, and the grandparents living miles away. This has become the norm. The old family tribe, this is a thing of the past. So people in retirement need to reform their own tribe. This is not easy. If you're coming from a place of loneliness, if you're living alone in a unit somewhere where everyone else goes to work and comes home late, you can become very lonely. I fully believe that one of the ways we could approach this loneliness thing is particularly so because so many people watch screens. The young ones watch their smartphones and their tablets. The older ones, so many retirees, simply sit and watch the television. Now what a media for getting to those lonely oldsters. I'm surprised, really surprised, that some organisation in the media hasn't picked up on this. For example, if a program was run at a suitable hour for retirees, maybe a couple of times a week, maybe a half-hour show. And there's so much you could put on a show like that. And the advertisers would be the people who catered for those who are retired. Retirement villages, for example, superannuation funds, people like that. There's plenty of scope. And with a show like that, so much important information could be put out on it. And of course, now that we have this business of being able to interpret the words and put them on screen, so people who are maybe deaf can take down notes, follow up, find things, find organisations. In this particular presentation I went to this morning, there were organisations from all over the place dealing with retirees, but they're not integrated. All of those organisations could present things on a television show, advocating the services they do, and so forth. So much scope. So I'm hoping that somebody out there will take up on this and think to themselves, well, why don't we do it? Why doesn't the government, for example, federal or state, approach the various television networks, perhaps the ABC or SBS, or even the commercial ones, and suggest it to them? Because there are millions of people out there, millions, who are retirees or coming up for retirement, who need the information to make their lives in retirement that much more happier.